All right, guys. Hopefully, a quick video today. I just see a lot of people asking this follow-up questions to some of my other stuff, or reaching out to me like, "Well, what kind of deck should I build then?" Like, you're telling me like as a free to play, I shouldn't go all in on Kita-san and all these other things, but like, what am I supposed to build then? Uh, it's pretty easy. Where is not compare compatibility? Uh, Deck builder. Okay. So, like, what kind of deck would I build? Well, we're in URA finals. Obviously, things change in Ohio High and make new track. Mant is a very different meta to these other two. So, for right now, let's worry about URA finals. So, URA finals, notoriously, is very low skill, very low stat gains. Um, I showed you before in like the other website where you can kind of directly compare stat gains across cards, right? In the previous video, because that's kind of what that site's doing. It's purely looking at like stat gains as a stat stick. It's not considering the events and the skills of the cards. But you can see like if you filter it into the actual global version for URA final, stat gains on cards, even Kita-san, for example, like it's like it's within like 100 points of the SRs, right? The stat gains in URA are not that insane. That's why you see even the whales with like full SSR decks, they're not like really dwarfing people in terms of like stats, right? Like, in fact, like some of the first S and S plus horses I've seen on global are actually running mostly SR cards. I mean, they're cheesing it, right? Because they're running like 3 speed, 3 wit, which is cheesy as fuck. It's like, I mean, you can do that just for the free carrots, right? To buff up your overall total power score in PvP, but it's not like an ideal way to raise a horse, but it's pretty easy to do. You could run 3 speed, 3 power. I mean, 3 speed, 3 wit, and you can get like S horses. Um, but uh, those people are all using SR cards, so you're not really going to see like the real power of SSRs and like high MLB SSRs until later into the game. So you shouldn't be so obsessed with like I need these SSRs or I can't play the game. I mean, you can just watch some of these streamers play who spent thousands of dollars to pull Kita-san Black, and like you can just laugh at how bad their runs are, because they like literally don't understand how to even play the game, and they're building like 300 stamina going into like Tenosho fucking fall or spring, and like doing 3,000 meter races with 300 stamina, and then wondering why they're losing. I have 600 speed. How am I losing? It's because you're retarded. So like, what would I make as like a free to play? Like I said, you should be focused on SRs. Like any of these four SR speeds are all very strong, and still very strong even into like current day JP. Sweep Tosho is like she should just be an SSR card herself. Like, to be honest with you, like this card is incredibly powerful. She's better than like even future SSR speed cards that come out. There's absolutely no reason not to max this card out and use this card a lot of the time, like by default. And then the other ones are kind of plug and play. So King Halo is kind of like a straight stat stick, not really catered too much to like one thing or the other. So good stat stick to pair with that. And then you could probably throw like Aishin Flash. Aishin Flash is a little bit better than Narita. And then like that's good 3 speed right there. Now if you want a 4 speed, you can just borrow it. So like that's when I would borrow Kita-san Black, right? And then you just need stamina cards, right? So if you're running like medium or long races, this is pretty much going to be the go-to. It's going to be like 4 speed, 2 stam. Now if you did have a lot of SSR cards, right? Like you say you had another SSR that was like at least like 3 LB. Let's just say you had like maybe Biko, maybe like Suzuka. Let's just say it's like Suzuka, right? Decent speed card, especially with like 3 LB, 2 LB, and you had that, right? Like you probably could afford then to borrow the Kita-san, use this, probably drop King Halo and then maybe throw like a wit card in, right? Like throw in like a fine motion and then have your double stamina, which it kind of has to be Super Creek. Super Creek's kind of that's why I said Super Creek is like much better reroll target right now because she is kind of mandatory for now until like more stamina cards come on. Um, just because you're not going to get the stamina requirements you need without really like a maxed out Super Creek. So ideally, you're actually borrowing Super Creek, like really, unless you re-rolled for that, like I suggested people do, not for fine motion. I don't know why you would re-roll for this card, and not for anything else. It should have just been Super Creek if you took good advice from people, and then you wouldn't have to borrow it, and then you had free flexibility. But if you did get at least like 3LB Super Creek when you re-rolled at the beginning of the game, you're going to have to borrow 3LB or max LB Super Creek every single time. It is like a mandatory requirement. The only characters that don't need to pull this are Mile and Sprint runners. You could use a weaker stamina card. But if you're medium running or you're long running, like Super Creek, max LB, 100% mandatory. No questions asked. It is mandatory. Like I don't care what anybody tells you, it's mandatory. Like you just if you want the stamina you need, and not to mention her gold skill is amazing. If you want to be able to clear those races and have a good PvP character on those types of races, longer races, you're going to need Super Creek right now. Like it's just like kind of a requirement, which is why once again I told you guys and I said don't worry about re-rolling for Kita-san. Don't worry about re-rolling, especially on this shit ass banner. I mean, granted, her rerun banner is not super great. Like the rates are higher, but like she's not paired with a Santono Diamond is a good card, by the way. I see a lot of people just like saying like, "Oh, this banner's so ass. Santono is such a shit card." Like Santono is like one of the best stam cards like that you could get right now outside of Super Creek. Like I don't know where this like idea came from or like why people keep saying this, but like this is an incredibly strong stamina stat stick. So I don't know where people are saying like Iron Will sucks. Yeah, her skills not great. I mean, medium corners is fine. Like Tether's okay. Tether's pretty good. Flustered front runners could be good too. Helps drain their fuck them up. You know, it's a stamina drain, right? Yeah, increased stamina drain for front runners. A lot of people are front running right now, so like this could be good in PvP later on. Like it's not terrible skills. Like they're pretty bad, but like she has energy in here. Energy, just guts training is not very good. I mean, yeah, her overall not the best card, right? But like you're pretty limited on stamina options right now. And then later in the future, like she's always going to be a good stamina stat stick. Is the TLDR is what I'm saying. Like it's not a bad card. So this banner is actually like pretty fair. You're getting a chance for two different good cards that you kind of need right now. And then the future rate up banner, if I remember right, like the second card is like not very good. I'm not going to look it up right now. I'll look it up later, but I'm pretty sure the second card is not very good on her rate up banner. And you can always just borrow it, right? I mean, Super Creek's going to be kind of a mandatory card, pretty much always for medium long runners, even into the future, like the far future. Like it's going to be at least like a year and a half, if not more, until like the next big stamina card drops, if I remember correctly. So yeah, this was just a way better reroll target than like Kita-san, to be honest with you. And there's gonna be people who like disagree with me, and that's fine. Everybody can have their opinion. I'm just going off of what makes sense to me and what I'm looking at, and just like stamina is very hard. I didn't need Kita-san to be getting 1200 speed to max out my speed. And honestly, since I've been using Kita-san, I haven't really noticed Kita-san really making that much of a difference in my runs. In fact, my runs have been worse, actually, so for some reason lately. All my runs have been like super dog shit when I'm borrowing like a MLB Kita-san from people. And the reason for that is probably because my stamina ends up being so low and I have to invest in the stamina training a lot more. It's because I can't borrow Super Creek, right? Because I don't have maxed out Super Creek either. So, because I didn't take my own advice because I believe the advice of other people, and I have a super like maxed out Find Motion, and thought like, oh wow, my account's all set, and then I realized I got fucked by listening to terrible advice from retarded people who didn't actually play the game and just like regurgitated information that other people told them. So yeah, if you think for yourself and you think critically, what's the most important stat really in the game? It's stamina. Like it is by far stamina. It's not even close. It's not speed. It's stamina. Stamina is the most important stat. The amount of speed that you lose by not having enough stamina into the final leg of the race, especially on medium and long tracks, basically gimps your entire character. And then I don't want things coming down to a guts check at the end of the race because fuck that. So having enough stamina to just make sure your character can actually run at its full speed during its last spurt would be really ideal. So, and it's kind of mandatory, and it's really why you're losing PvP and why you're not why you're not able to complete like the story missions. It's why you're not able to complete daily races, and you might be struggling because you have way too much speed, you don't have enough stamina, and then when you do those races, you're not getting the 400 free stats that the URA Finals career is giving you anymore. So your horse is basically running out of gas and not entering its final spurt and not even coming close to that full speed. There's a breakdown once again on the guide that I gave you that like basically told you that like, hey, 200 speed, 1200 stamina in long races beats 1200 speed, 200 stamina. Right? The penalty for not clearing the stamina checks on each track is ridiculously high. You literally don't enter last spurt. You literally like don't gain any speed at all. It's really bad. So stamina is the most important stat. Up to the minimum, right? So you get it up to the minimum. You can go above the minimum for PvP, obviously, because you're going to get debuffed. People aren't going to use debuffers in PvP trials. It actually it's not really like super great to use a debuffer in PvP trials. I mean, you can, but like people are going to use it in like Champions Road and like the actual PvP where it is like the 3v3v3, and then being first is all that matters. So when being first is all that matters, you're going to bring a sacrificial horse to be the debuffer to make sure your other horses take first place, right? So that's where you're going to see debuffers come in, and then having enough stamina to offset the debuffs, because it's the only way to deal with them. Like you just have to have enough stamina, right? So if you just don't have enough stamina and some guy brings in 4 debuffs, like you just lose. So you need enough stamina, right? So stamina is king. It's always king. It's going to be king for the longevity of the game. It's always super important, and Super Creek is by far the pinnacle of stamina cards, like for the foreseeable future. And there's not a lot of other good options. Right now, you just have SR options, or you have Centono Diamond. And then the good options don't come to far later. So you're always going to be like super reliant on Super Creek all the time, every time. For any medium long racer, you're kind of stuck with that card. Now you can get away with it in mile and sprint runners, right? You can drop Super Creek. You don't need it. You don't need any stamina cards really. You can just run power because power trains stamina, so you can kind of offset that, right? You don't need this high stamina to clear those races. You can inherit the stamina, and then just through power training, you could probably hit the stamina requirements and then be good, because power is way more important in smaller tracks because you need to be able to accelerate in the smaller window and actually be able to hit your top speed, right? So just kind of common sense things that like I don't understand. The game is not that complicated, guys. It's just kind of common sense. So use what you got. So like if you're playing the game right now, like your best bet is going to just be like something like this. Like I said, let's assume you have no SSRs. These 3 pretty good. Then you could just borrow like a Kita, or you could borrow like a twin turbo, or you could borrow like a Suzuka if somebody's got it, or like if you're running a front runner, or like a Biko Pegasus is also like a pretty strong SSR speed card if it's actually like at least 2 LB. These SSRs have to be at least like 2 LB. Twin turbo is not good unless she's maxed out. Tokateo is not very good unless she's 3 LB, I think, or maxed out. Gold. This is just not a good speed card. She's not very good either. But she has crazy high friendship gauge. So I mean, you get purple rolls really fast, but she has no specialty priority. But she does have charming. So like, I use the card sometimes. I mean, the runs are always RNG. Like, so even if you have the 33% chance of rainbow training with Kita-san because you have the 110 specialty training because she's maxed out, it's still RNG, guys. Like, it's still only like a 33% chance she shows up, right? It's all RNG at the end of the day. Like, specialty priority just helps decrease the RNG as much as possible, but your runs are always going to have some semblance of RNG. So it's more important to bring more cards. So it's like, hey, I really want to hit 1200 speed. And by having more speed cards, you by definition have more power, right? Because the more times they show up on the friendship training for speed, the more power you're also getting. Because a lot of the cards also give power. Like King Halo gives one extra speed, one extra power, very strong stats card. And then you don't need to bring power. You can inherit the power. So medium long runners, right, are going to generally inherit their power, and they're going to run stamina cards and speed cards. Okay? And then if you're running a mile sprinter, you're probably going to inherit your stamina, right, from your parents, and then you're going to run power and speed cards. Now, in the future, you could run a wit card. Wit cards are not very useful right now. I don't recommend running them. The only time you're going to run a wit, like I said, is if like you have a bunch of SSRs that are maxed out, like you're a super giga whale, then you could take one less speed card because you don't need to. Like if you have good like options, like you had a Biko Pegasus or even like a Suzuka who has very high specialty. Like these two cards have very high specialty priority. This card is like right behind Kita-san in terms of specialty priority. Like, let's say you have this, and then you had Kita, like you're a super whale. This is it. Like, you don't need 4 speed cards, right? So you could get a wit card, right? Then you could throw in like a fine motion, and then if like you're a giga whale, like you're gonna probably be running Super Creek, and you're probably gonna be running Centono. Sorry, this would probably be like a giga whale deck for medium long racing, right? Like if you're a giga whale and you're fully maxed out, like this is your deck, like. And you're probably it's gonna be like super easy for you. That's really the only time wit cards can kind of come in handy. And then I see people saying like, "Oh, I thought you said this nice nature support card was good." It is good. She has very high training effectiveness for an SR. Like she has like an SSR level of training effectiveness, and training effectiveness is really what you care about. Wit cards you don't actually want to be showing up on wit trading. Like I don't want them to. Like I want them to just be like they're there as like a bonus card, because of like maybe you want the skills they have. They tend to have like some better skills sometimes. So you're looking for the skill, you're looking for the events. A lot of the time they'll have energy events, and then they make it so every time you do click wit, as like a turn skip, like you'll get more energy if they are there, right? Like if Fine Motion shows up on wit trading, as a rainbow. And when you're trying to like, I know I have nothing good to take, so let's click this. And like you're gonna get a lot of wit, decent amount of speed boost as well, and you're gonna get energy. Like it's there, like there. It's I know they're called support cards, but like wit cards are like the support cards of the support cards. Realistically, it's kind of what they're there for. So like this card is good, because she'll show up in other trainings and just act as a stat stick if you don't have other things, right? So, like, let's say you don't have, why would you use her? So she's free, right? So, like, let's say you missed the special week. You didn't get the special week. Maybe you're just like you have no SSR speeds, right? And you just got like let's say you got like a good sweep Tosho and you got like a kick Halo, but you don't have like another speed card. Like these guys aren't leveled, or maybe they're 2 LB. Like it's probably worth bringing this card, right? We'll get rid of that. So it's probably worth bringing this card, right? Because she'll act as a stat stick because you're missing a speed card. So then you'd have to probably borrow another speed card. You could probably key this on from everybody. So then you have your 4. This is technically like this is your 4th speed card. That's what she's acting as. She has low specialty priority, so like I don't want her to show up on wit. I want her to show up on other trainings to use her training effectiveness stat to help buff those. She does show up on wit. It's still okay, right? Because wit gives speed. So she kind of acts as like a mini speed card. And that's how wit cards can be useful to your deck. They're kind of like offshoots. It's the same thing with like these persona cards. Tazuna is not very good. Aoi is actually better than Tazuna in the current URA. And then going forward, Tazuna is just not a very good card. I know I said she was pretty good, but I meant when I said that, I meant that as like if you have nothing else and you did pull her, like you might as well use her. She'll just make your runs a little easier. But Aoi's actually like a better she's actually better. Like if you max LB this card, she's actually way better than Tazuna, right? Now in the future, some of these cards are meta defining, right? Like there's the ancestors card, which is all like the horse ancestors, which is one of these cards, and like everybody uses that card, right? It's like a mainstay card for a lot of decks in the very far future. There's Rico, which is just important to the upcoming event, right? So there's reasons to use these, and you will use these. This card is super dead though. After their career event, a lot of these cards are dead. Now there's two of them that kind of have stay value. Well, there's only one of them really. It's the ancestor card that has stay value into the future of the game that you can keep using, but the rest of them don't. So don't get too attached to them. They're usable if you need them. You have nothing else, but otherwise, yeah. But yeah, you would throw in like the wit card, like the nice nature, or like the marvelous Sunday, or the Agnes Tachyon. So these two are very good SRs. This is a very good SR. This is like obviously the best. This card is fucking terrible. Like literally the worst card in the game. Every time you pull this, you should just cry because it's fucking terrible. But yeah, so like these three are good. This is good, and then this is good. But like they have more relevance later into the game. Like we're talking like a year from now. They're not super relevant right now. And then Fine Motion is not even like the top tier wit card, right? So that's why the whole idea of re-rolling for this really pissed me off, because like I got baited into it. And I took a account that like I could have re-rolled more and had a better start, and like my account's kind of gimped, right? Because I took terrible advice and I re-rolled as Fine Motion, like, well, because I got 3 of them, so I was like, okay, well my account's good then. I had I pulled like 4 twin turbos within like the first 50 pulls, which was insane, and then I had 3 Fine Motions in that as well. Like I had 6 SSRs in 1 10 pull when I started the game. It was actually insane. So I was like, okay, well, I got Fine Motion. Everybody says that's a reroll target, right? I only got 1 Super Creek as well. So I was like, okay, I'll be good. I'll get another Super Creek, and then I already have Fine Motion, and I have this, I have Twin Turbo, and like she's not super great, but like I'm close to maxing her, and then like I maxed out SSR. It's still a maxed out SSR, right? Twin Turbo provides a ton of stats as a stat stick, even though her specialty priority is low. So it's like okay, great account. Yeah, Rog. I really wish I re-rolled for Super Creek, to be honest with you, because I end up having to borrow that card all the time, and I would really like to use other cards. So yeah, in the future, more usable in the future, not super usable right now. Like I said, you're a free to play. Like these 3 cards are probably like your meta speed cards, and then you can borrow Kita-san and then run to power card. Now, if you're running a mild character, right, same thing. We're just gonna swap the stamina for power cards. Power cards right now. Biwa's good, Amazon's good, Daitaku's good, Mihono's good. Mihono's probably the worst one out of all of them, but she does give a lot of initial power. Really, like this card right here is extremely good, extremely powerful. You should probably use it. Now, you probably don't have any other good power cards. You probably have one of these 3. Ideally, you're going to use like her or Biwa, and Daitaku is probably like 3rd best. But Daitaku also has like the EP bonus right now, so like this is kind of worth using. Very strong card as well. It was on the last banner. But like these 2 are the king of power cards. They're super strong even into the future. They're like top tier power cards even into the future of the game. So if you pulled either of them, you shouldn't feel bad. Vodka especially is a extremely good card. Vodka doesn't need limit breaks to be very strong, by the way. So if you have any vodkas at all, like even 1, or even especially like 1 LB vodka, it's just like it is the best power card in the game. It's not even close. Like the card is very, very strong. If you need to train miles or sprinters, you need a lot of power. So yeah. So once again, you train on distance, you don't train on running style. I see people like this misconception of like, I run a pace chaser, and I was told I need to run a bunch of power instead of stamina. Like, no, you build your characters based on their running, like what they're running. It's not based on their running style. Now, like if your character is running long and medium races and they're a late surger, I mean, you just shave off 100 stamina essentially. But you should probably still build the same way anyway, because your late charger will just be better at dealing with debuffers because you'll have a stamina buffer there. Late chargers shave off like about 100 stamina, I think, from requirements. Pace chasers only shave off like 30 stamina or something. It's not a lot. And then end closers actually need more stamina. I'm not sure why they need more stamina. Like logically, it doesn't super track in my brain, but they do. Yeah, they actually need the second most. No, the third most. No, I think they're on par with pace chasers. Actually, I don't remember. You can look it up yourself. But end closers actually need a lot of stamina. And power comes naturally, guys. It's not like so. Even if you're running medium long races and you have like a late surger and you're like, well, I need the power to overtake. You don't need that much, and like you're gonna get it anyway. Like just speed training alone. Like on average, like I always get over 600, 700 power just from speed trading. Like I never actually have to click power, and that's only going to get better over time with better cards. So I just don't see the need for that when you need like 900 to 1200 stamina requirements for some of these like longer tracks. So you're just not going to have the training turns necessary to get high power alongside of high stamina that's literally required in order to do that. So yeah, but if you are running like a mile racer, like I said, like these two cards are super goated, very strong, even way into the late game. Otherwise, she's like the best power card. SR, pretty good. Like if you don't have a vodka, like this is the best power card. Until this gets a few LBs, and then she's way better. And then she's better with no LBs or one LB. This is usable. If you're a free-to-play, yours is probably going to look like this, or maybe it'll look like this, or maybe even like this. Whatever one you have like the most LB of, it's fine. In the current game, like, don't worry about skills so much, right? Skills, like, yeah, they're super necessary and you need to have good skills, but the reality is like you just don't have the cards and the card quantity and the card levels and the resources right now, especially if you're a free to play, to really worry about the skills too much, as much as like I need strong stat sticks, right? The stats are more important right now. Hitting the stat caps and pushing like how the highest amount of stats you can in a very stat deficient scenario is like more important. So don't focus so much on the skills. Take the good skills where you can. There's like all these cards have some good neutral skills that work on kind of everybody. But like you really just kind of need stat sticks right now, and like these are like your better stat stick options. And you're gonna run kind of the same thing on everybody, right? Now, if you're running specifically sprints, you could probably drop a power card. So the reason why you run power cards, by the way, on sprint and mile is because the stamina requirements are a lot lower, right? So you're looking at like 500 to 600 or something on like most of those tracks, right? So power trains stamina. So if you're like getting double friendship training on power and you're leveling at facility, you're going to naturally have high stamina the same way you would have high power by training speed all the time, right? Just think about it, right? Just use your brain. Just think about it, you know? And then generally the way that the game works is leveling facilities is king, right? So it doesn't matter if you have Kidasan Black, who always shows up on speed, when your speed by the end of the game is only level 4. If my speed's level 5 and I focused on that, on making the facility stronger, and I have 10 turns of level 5 speed training while you only have 2, despite having Kidasan Black, my deck is still going to be stronger than yours, right? So this is also why like I recommend like these cards in particular, because they have the higher specialty priority as SRs, especially King Halo and Sweep. They have like really high specialty priority. So it's pretty much useless to you if you have Kidasan and you don't have these cards maxed out, because while Kidasan will show up on speed all the time, ideally these guys won't, right? If it's like Narita or like some other speed card, right? If it's like Naruto or you got like a Tokai Teo in there who has like no specialty priority, or like Nishino, like you're using like weird like zero LB SSRs because you think SSRs are better. Um, sorry, I'm really congested right now. I'm sure it's annoying. If you if you're using those, right? Uh, Kitasan will show up on speed, show up on the facility, but the other ones won't. So it like your deck is still bad. Like Kitasan doesn't make your deck better. Where once again I would argue Super Creek always makes your deck better. Like just having Super Creek, even if you don't click stamina, it still makes your deck better. Because her gold skill is amazing. It's like it's a meta defining gold skill for a very long time. And then her initial stat bonuses are huge. Like it's basically like you click stamina training like 5 times, 5 different turns already. She has very high training effectiveness, so everywhere she shows up, she boosts everything. Like this is an extremely strong card in every deck, no matter what. Even if you're running Mile, right? Like maybe you are running Mile. Like it's not even bad to take a Super Creek, really. Like it's still good. It's just less times you have to train certain things. But if you're running like Sprint, for example, like you can take a wit card, right? I would even like encourage taking a wit card, like maybe dropping like one of the power cards. Let's say you just keep Biwa or something, and then taking a wit card. You know, like this one or like this one or Agnes or Miss Marvel. So whatever one's like the most LB, like that's not this card. Like don't ever take this card. But if you have fine motion, like I have fine motion 2 LB, so I would just take fine motion 2 LB level 40 over any of my other wood options. So if I'm running a sprinter, I would probably just bring fine motion. You could even bring it into a mile, really. Probably not. I mean, you really need like 900 plus power for like mile and sprinters. Ideally, you want 1200. But that might not be doable sometimes. It really depends. It's kind of RNG based, but that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for like 500 stam, 1200 power, 1200 speed, and then like 400 wit, right? And then like 350 guts. You know, guts is still important. You still need to hit like minimum requirements. I literally watch like streamers lose races because of guts checks. So like for example, Red New was streaming last night, and he even like argued with me about it, which is retarded because he was wrong, but whatever. And he was like, his like, I think his Metro McQueen lost like the 3rd race into career where like the AI only has like 200 stat lines or like 260. So and then he lost with like all 300 plus stat lines, and he couldn't understand why. And it's like it's literally because, right? So and like one of the chatters said this too, and I had to argue with them because they just like they don't understand how the game works. The tracks have minimum stamina requirements, right? It doesn't matter, right? Because it's a long race, right? It's I think it was like a 2500 plus race, right? It doesn't matter if your character has 400 stamina and their character only has 200. If you both don't meet the stamina checks, you both don't have a last spurt, and you both don't hit your speed goals, right? So then what the game does is it comes down to guts. The final spurt, if you're even with a character, the guts determines the winner, right? So because the AI had 60 more gut stat, that's why the AI edged out like a neck to neck victory, right? He literally lost on a guts check. Like it wasn't the stamina, it wasn't the speed, it was a guts check. That's why he lost that race at the end. And even though I tried to explain it to him, he didn't get it. So it's like you lost the race to a guts check. Like that was like a perfect example of like what I'm talking about. Like you couldn't have got like a better race example of like you both failed the stamina check. You went into the last spurt, a neck and neck, and then the AI won out because simply like with less stats. So the AI has way less speed, way less stamina, way less wit, like everything else is low. The only thing the AI beat him in is 60 more guts. And because the guts check at the end of the race in the last spurt went in his favor, so the AI won. So that's why you lose those neck and neck races to the AI all the time. It's because the AI trains stats very similar across the board. So like by the end of the career, the AI is going to have like 500 in every stat. That's boosted by 400 because of the career. They also get the boosted stats. So They basically had 900 in every stat. So when you get to a neck and neck with the AI, you lose because of guts, right? They win the guts check. So that's why stamina is super important, because if you don't meet the minimum required stamina to clear the track you're racing, right? Which is pretty easy to do in career. Like in the early game, that's why that happens, because if you have a character that runs a lot of long races early into the game, even with the 400 bonus stamina that you're getting, you actually like can't win. That's why I would argue like stamina training at the beginning of a career is actually like more important, as long as like your character has to run long races. So if you're running like 2,500 meter plus races very early into the career, you'd actually be better off like keeping your speed at like 200 and then like dumping early stamina, because you got to remember, like, you do get the 400 bonus, but those tracks require like 800 to 900 stamina to actually clear as like a base requirement to be able to actually hit your maximum speed and your maximum velocity, right? So that's why you lose those early races with certain characters. I see it happen all the time. People lose like an early a G1 race that they're doing with a character. Like, well, I usually clear this. This is weird. It's because you probably had like 10 less stamina than you needed. So even like 10 less stamina than what was required to clear that track will drastically nerf your speed. So that's why the AI beats you, right? The AI doesn't have... That's why even in the late career, right, despite having 900 in every stat, the guts and the wit and all that doesn't even come into really importance, as long as you clear the stamina check. Like, they have way more stamina than you, but as long as you're clearing the stamina check, then your speed is more important. And then usually because you have way higher speed than the AI is going to have, because you're going to have like 1,200, 1,100 speed by then, like, you'll just win every race because of the boosted stat gains, because you're probably going to be like at cap of stamina. You know, if you got like 800 stam, you are at 1,200 stam technically. So you could pretty much clear like any race except like the extremely long ones, and hit your max speed, which is going to guarantee you win the race, right? So that was like a perfect example. And then it just like, yeah, I tried to point it out and it just like went over his head, went over his chat's head. So that was like a perfect example of like everything I'm talking about, of like why stamina is king. If you don't have the stamina to clear the track you're running, right, it doesn't matter how much stamina the other character has. Okay, some people have this like weird idea that like stamina is just a stat check. It's literally just a gatekeeping stat check. You have to have enough stamina to clear the track you're on when you enter the last spurt. If you don't have enough stamina, your character will enter the last spurt a little bit later, right? So they won't start running full speed. It's basically like, okay, do you have enough stamina? Check. Okay, now your power plus your speed is going to determine your acceleration until you hit your max speed, right? Because then power comes to a play and then you're accelerating, right? It's like, it's pretty common sense, but they try to convolute it, and then they bring up like mechanics that aren't even in the game yet that don't apply. So it's like, yeah, just be careful with that. But yeah, that would be pretty much it for decks. I mean, I would just run 2 decks. If you're free to play, your deck's probably going to look like something like this, right? If you're running like sprints, you could run the Swit card if you don't have another power card, or you could, you know, bring like another power card. You could even like drop Kitasan, and you could probably get away with, you know, borrowing like a vodka. I see a few people share this. You can look up people sharing it. Definitely worth using if you're running like a mile or sprinter. Any of your dirt runners technically are mile runners, so you definitely want to bring like a vodka card. Like bring vodka, bring Hishi. This could be like another speed card. I could like throw Narita in there, have like 4 speed, whatever. This would be like a free to play look. You'd borrow this, or you could like, I don't know, maybe you have like an LB speed card. I don't know. Ideally, it's going to be like these 4 because you're probably free to play. So, but if you did pull a card like this card is not good until 3 LB. It's not usable. This card is pretty decent at like 1 LB. This card is not very good until like 3 LB. She's kind of usable. I think she needs like 1 or 2 LB. This card needs like at least like 1 LB. I think this card needs like full LB to be useful. This card's really bad, but if you have it for free, you should be using it. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I would use her over Narita for sure, especially for if you're running like a pace chaser. She does have Gourmand, which is a very strong recovery skill. So every gold recovery skill is less stamina that you actually have to build. So that's why those are very sought after and very important. So any card that has gold recovery skills is super valuable, right? You don't need them as much on like mile racers. It's good to still have one. So that's why I said there is an argument to be made for like still bringing like a super creek on like a sprinter, right? Like if you're running like a sprinter, to still bring like a super creek, just for the an easier time to hit the stamina, but also to have swinging maestro just in case you run into debuffers, right? So if you're only at the 500 stamina kind of like requirement for like sprint and mile tracks, debuffers are probably going to ruin your day, right? So having a way to offset that helps, right? So that's how these things work. That's pretty much what it is. You can just like make decks in game. You can just like make separate decks and just have your medium long deck with just going to be like 4 speed. Let's just it's going to be 4 speed, and then like let's just say you really have this mind. This Maya Top Gun is like the top stamina card for SR. This card is in terms of pure stat gains, this card is way better than Manhattan, but Manhattan is more consistent. So either one of these two cards is fine. I would avoid the Rice Shower card. She's really bad. The Medjugorje card is very good with a couple dupes. She is technically free, so like you could invest into this card, it'd be fine. Saiyan Sky though, Saiyan Sky, Santono, and Super Creek are like the 3 best stamina cards. Saiyan Sky is a very good stamina card, by the way. Like even at 0 LB, Saiyan Sky is still very strong as a stamina option for right now. If you have this maxed out, I would use it over her. But if you have at least 1 LB of Saiyan Sky, I would use Saiyan Sky over Top Gun as my secondary stamina card. But like this would be your you borrow this, obviously. This would be your medium long deck. You could even run 3 stam if you're running like extremely long races. Like if you're working on long racers themselves, long racers actually want max stamina. You don't want max speed, you actually want max stamina. I'm telling you, you give it a try, you'll thank me later. If you have long racers and you're struggling in PvP or anything, like do like 900 speed, 1200 stam. Like aim for that as your target goal for all of your extreme long racer characters, and you'll thank me later. So so you could drop like Narita, get another stam card. Let's say you just run Manhattan, and you could run something like this, right? So yeah, use whatever. Would you use the free? You could probably use her over there. I wouldn't use her over King Halo. It's kind of hard to judge. Let me see. So we're comparing this special week, right? Like she has, let's just say you are a pace chaser. She has the good skill, so we'll assume the best case scenario. Friendship bonus is pretty high, so your friendship training is going to be good. Mood effect is average, but it's still on par with like King Halos and just a little bit behind Sweep Tosho and Narita's. Get speed bonus. Training effectiveness is a little low. Yeah, I would argue Narita's probably still a little better. For the most part, just because she gives initial speed, has higher friendship initial gauge. The fan bonus is useful, by the way. Like there's so many times where like it's useful on certain characters. Some characters, like I think Tokai Teo actually has this problem where like if you don't have enough fan bonus, you have to do like an extra race like in between. Is it Tokai Teo that has that problem? Somebody I was playing recently. Who was I playing recently on stream? And I was getting super annoyed because I had to keep like doing it. I'm pretty sure it was Tokai. Like I had to keep doing like an extra race on like the third race zone, and it was annoying as fuck. So like that could help. Race bonus is very important, especially later on. There's like certain minimums you want to hit. It's very hard to do right now, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But that's why this card could be considered better, because she'll help you hit like that 45 race bonus stat that you kind of want to hit. But like especially 30, 20, is there really not that much of a difference between the two of these? Not really. So I would argue like this is probably still a better card. This is just like a good option if you don't have these guys maxed out, right? So like maybe you have these 3 max, you don't have her max, like to take the special week, right? But for the most part, like I don't think you really want to take this card unless you're running a front runner. I mean, a pace chaser, and you want that gourmand, which you do. If you're running like a medium long pace chaser, you probably do want to bring the special week for right now just to have Gourmand. But keep in mind, you could still get Gourmand to trigger. So every support card you own has a random chance to show up in the career. So that's something like people don't talk about. Like, just because I'm not using Fine Motion doesn't mean she doesn't show up in my career events because I own her and then give me practice perfect, right? That can still happen. It's a very low chance, but it's a very low chance for the random events anyway. Like Sweep Tosho is great for charming, but like it shows up for me like one every like 6 runs. So yeah. But yeah, this would be like ultra long race. If like I'm struggling, something I would run as a free to play. And then like I said, you would do like the power, right? And run like your power cards. And then like I would probably try to borrow a vodka, and then run like the speed cards that I have. These 3 are like what I would go for. Narita is like subjectively better sometimes, but like these 3 are pretty consistent. This card will last you a very long time. Very good investment. And then you could run like a wit card if you wanted, or another speed. Run like a wit card, or I could run like another speed in here, or the freebie. So that's what your free to play deck should pretty much look like. You're gonna build decks once again. So let's just wrap this up because this is way longer than I thought. So TLDR, once again, you build for distance. You don't build for your running style. Okay. Now, in the grand scheme of things, like front runners need the most stamina, right? Add like 5% into whatever your stamina requirements are for the track as a front runner. But like still, like if you're building correctly anyway, and you're getting like the gold stamina skills that you need, recovery skills, like you can just kind of build like the same stat lines for all the characters right now, and it'll be fine for whatever distance they're running, right? So it's just like late surger. So people are all saying like, oh, front runners are the best. Front runners are the best. They're not. Like by far, it's like late surgers are the best running style. It's not even comparable. It's just like the problem is you might not have the skills lined up for that. But like in terms of inheritance, like you can inherit Ogre's ultimate. You can inherit Tokai Teo's ultimate. Even like Rudolph's ultimate can be good for a late surger because you're probably going to pass the same character a couple times. There's a lot of very good ultimates that are useful on late surgers. The most, right? They're very, very good ultimates that can all be traded onto a late surger. So late surgers will benefit the most from other characters' ultimates. Especially like if you're running long medium races and you inherit, if you have your Agnes Tachyon leveled up to level 3 and you can give other Uma her ultimate. That's insane, by the way. Like it's probably like a meta thing to do if you wanted to do that. I would probably do that if I could. I don't have Agnes level 3, so I can't trade her unique skill to everybody. But if I could, I would be doing nothing but breeding Agnes Tachyon and to have 9 sparks, and then I would give her ultimate to pretty much every medium long racing Uma, so I could skimp on stamina, because her ultimate is extremely powerful. It's a massive stamina recovery. It's very consistent. It activates kind of in the perfect spot. So yeah. But late surgers, by far, in my opinion, I think are the best running style. I turn most of my characters into late surges if I can, because I have high aptitudes on my parents right now for that. So I might not have the most like late surger specific skills, although I'm pretty sure it's Aishin that has a lot of late surger skills that are decent. So like if you're always bringing her, you're pretty good. They benefit a lot from a lot of ultimates. So like I have a lot of Tokai Teo parents. So like all my late surgers benefit pretty heavily from her. Like Tokai Teo is way better as a late surger than a pace chaser, by the way. And then you might be worried about like power. Like, so late surging is not good in the early game. So when you're playing the career, you should definitely just front run or pace chase your characters, right? But by the end of the career, like late surgers are not scary or like worrisome at all, because you'll just have way more than enough power to clear through. If you have maxed out speed, you'll hit like 700 plus power easily, 800 plus power, and then you'll have tons of stam. So, and then you get your stamina has even more value as a late chaser. You know, it's basically like adding plus 100 stam to your character, so it gives you some wiggle room for debuffers, right? And there's a lot of really good late chaser, like slipstream's good. It activates multiple times in a run, so that's more points in PvP. There's a lot of good late chaser abilities in the game right now, that can work out. So like I think like later into the game, like late chasers are just kind of like actually more consistent and just kind of better off. So yeah, I see a lot of people saying like, "Oh, front runners," but most of you are not hitting, especially like for long distance runners. Most of you don't have the number of gold stamina skills required, and you don't have the stamina required for like front runners to work. Like Mahoyo Top Gun is like, I really like that character, and I have her 3-starred, but like she's mostly a long front runner. Yeah, I don't run her like that. I run her as a late surger. So yeah, because you have to. You just have to. You can't run her as a front runner in these like 3,000 plus meter races that she does. Like you can't do it. You would need at least 1,200 stamina, and like then even then, like that's still hard to do unless you run 3 stam cards. So I don't recommend it. But yeah, you gotta consider like unique skills you're inheriting. You got to consider a lot of things, by the way. Like I told you guys before, like inheritance is really the end game, like PvE wise and PvP wise. Like inheritance is the end game. So like if you haven't been focused on that and you're too obsessed with support cards, like that's why you're losing. It's like these people who are beating you in PvP are like I guarantee you they don't have better support cards than you. They probably don't. Most of them are using SRs anyway. What they're beating you in is they're beating you in inheritance. Like they're farming the G1 races. They probably already have like a good character lined up that they like to loop. So they'll loop that character fucking 30 times a day, and they'll grind. They have like a G1 schedule they follow, and they do the same run every single time. They farm the same G1 races. They get URA finals, and then they hope for 3-star sparks, right? I got my first 3-star spark yesterday, by the way. I was pretty excited, and it was a power spark too. So like I have good power parents right now. So I can make very good medium and long racers, which are my strongest teams right now. So because I have really good power parents. So yeah. So you definitely want to be working on that, and you definitely want to be considering like, you know, things like I said, like, hey, if I have a medium long runner, I definitely want Agnes Tachyon's unique ability, right? Her recovery skill. Because that's just like really strong. And it's like, yeah, it is really strong. So like, yeah, you do want that. So that kind of is going to determine the like. That's why I said, like, I saw some people saying like, oh, the horses don't matter. I'm like, yeah, they do. And like free to play should want to borrow the. If anything, I would argue like getting the good horses is more important as a free to play than the support cards. Now, some people argued against that. And like I said, everybody can have their own opinions. Like this is just my fucking opinion based on like the information that I have. Like the horses are more important. Like there are horses in the future that have like killer tunes. They have like all these like really strong skills inherently built into them, or they have like an extremely strong unique skill. And you want to, you know, like a good example is like Summer Ogre. Like Summer Ogre is a very strong character. Christmas Ogre. Sorry, like Christmas Ogre, and then like Summer Marazuki. Oh, bro, why can't I? Marazinski. I don't. My brain is fried. It's early in the morning for me. Like those are good characters, but they specifically require other characters' unique skills to be like full potential, and that's how people train them in Japan. Like you'll see this if you look at like, because if you go and look in some of like the Japanese sites and like how they discuss the game, they're not like obsessing over support cards as much as people in NA currently are. They're more obsessed with like aptitude. So like they have sites dedicated and Discords dedicated to finding like borrowing people's parent UMA that have like good G1 races on them. You're like the correct gray the correct skills, correct unique skill, and like, you know, turf or dirt, which is way more valuable than, you know, front runner. So if you get like front runner S or something, or like late surger S, like that has like way less value than if you got like long S or turf S or dirt S. You know what I'm saying? Like those have way more value than the running style itself. So this is what people are looking for. and they're looking for specific unique skills that they farm and then like bring into other parents. So this is why like certain ume are better as parents than they are as actual racing ume. I always call them ume. It's uma. Sorry. And that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm starting to ramble and like my brain's starting to get fucked up. So because I'm like all stuffed up and shit. But hopefully this video helps you guys too and give you some new information to consider. And like, yeah, you can play the game better because it's really not that complicated. People are making it more complicated than it seems. Like just run 4-speed 2 stam or 4-speed 2 power, depending on what type of race you're running, and you're good. Like just do that for like the foreseeable future. Probably for like the next fucking like 3 months, like that's just going to be how you play. Just play it like that. If you have really good SSR cards that have like some limit breaks already, then you can like, you know, take one of your speed cards out. Like I said, you could take like a speed card out, like this one, and you could probably run like a wit card. You can afford to run a wit card or something, and you can you're generally just trying to push 2 stats to 1200 right now. So like if you're long racing, if you're long racing, you really want 1200 stamina. And then if you can get 1200 speed, that's great. If you can't, it's all right. Shoot for like 900 to 1000, but you want 1200 stamina. If you're medium racing, you want like 900 stamina and you want 1200 speed. Your power will naturally be like around 700 from that. And then your wit, you generally want like, I would say like 400 wit is usually like the go-to for me. I like 400 wit. And then you want like 350, 375 guts, right? And then obviously, if you have really strong speed SSRs already, then you can start putting in like another wit card to get the wit a little bit higher, a little bit faster, shave off some turns that you're training that, or get more value out of training it. Or you could even throw in like a extra stam card or something to try to max your stam, right? So if you're like a long racer, you like ideally your goal is probably 1200 speed stam. If you're a medium racer, it's probably still not 1200 stam because it doesn't have that much value after a certain point. So maybe you want like 1000 stam to be safe from debuffers, 1200 speed, and then if you get like 900 to 1000 power, that's super good. All right. If you want pure rating, the easiest way to get pure rating right now is just like it's 3 wit. So you just like run like your 3 wit cards like Agnes Tachyon, right? You'd run this, and then you run speed. You probably definitely want to borrow a Kitasan, right? So you'd borrow a Kitasan, run like 3, probably either one, probably her or her is fine. You'd run 3 speed, 3 wit cards. This card's free, maxed out. You definitely want to have a fine motion, and you definitely want to have this maxed out and use it. You want to borrow a fully maxed out Kitasan to do this. And you could run this, do 1200 wit, 1200 speed. That'll probably get you to like, if you get really lucky, you could still have like 800 power at this point. You'd only have like 400 stam, like at best. So it's not ideal. You could still you could still clear URA perfectly fine with that. Because of the boosted stats you get, the 400 boosted stats you get. But like you're not going to win PvP, but like you're going to get S rating, right? That's how you farm your S plus characters. If you want to farm a few of those to boost up your overall PvP score so you can get the free carrots, that's a good way to do that right now. Because if you think about it, right, and why is this good? It's because so the speed training's going to naturally get you power, right? And speed cards are just good in general. And then you're going to get wit is just going to like, so basically getting over 1100 of a stat. Ideally 1200, like capping a stat gives you way more points rating to your character. So wit is very easy to cap if you run 3 of them, and then wit training is basically free every time. So like you'll always be training if you do this setup. Like you'll always be training, you'll always have energy. So every turn basically hits its max potential. So you're more likely to max out like 2 stats to 1200. Now wit at 1200 is not super useful. Like wit past like 400, I would argue, is just like a waste of a stat. But like if you're just doing this for rating, so then when you put them on your team, you can get the free bonus carrots from high rating. Although realistically, you could run a sprinter like that. Like if you have some gold stamina cards, like skills, I mean, if you have some gold stamina skills, You could run like a Sakura Bakushin, and people do it. You could run 3 wit, 3 speed for like Sakura Bakushin, and you could have 1200 wit, 1200 speed. You'd probably get like 400 ish stamina on average, maybe a little bit less, but like it's fine because she only runs sprints anyway, and then you can make up for that with a couple stamina recovery skills. So like it could be a good horse specifically for sprinting. It wouldn't be good for like anything else though. And then she could still technically lose because she doesn't have enough power. Like somebody with like good power, like 1200 speed, 900 power, like 500 stamp, would probably still beat you most of the time. But it's doable. So that's what that's for.